Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmadoo.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Today, we're going to look at a deck that's sitting out on the deck board that utilizes Ghostrick monsters. Those were the ones that were given out by the handful during the Bones Legendary Duelist, Roaming Duelist event, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, there are some really good cards here. Some worth utilizing, and this one should be a really fun deck for you. I don't really foresee this, at least from a ranked duel standpoint, getting out of gold, or even into platinum at this point. I'm not too sure, but for a zombie deck, this is a pretty fun one, and I really like the way that this deck is set up. So first off, you have your one copy of Red Eye Zombie Dragon. This is pretty much a staple in just about any zombie deck. You got your 2400 attack, 2000 defense monster, but you could tribute this card in face-up attack position by tributing one zombie monster. Now, pretty much the entire rest of this deck is zombie monsters, so this will be really easy to accomplish. And when this card destroys a zombie-type monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your side of the field. So that's a really good one, too. And then he runs the one copy of Castle of Dark Illusions, level 4, 920 attack, 1930 defense. It's a fiend. When it's flipped, you increase the attack and defense of all zombie-type monsters by 200 points. As long as this card remains face-up on the field, the attack and defense of zombie-type monsters continues to increase by 200 points during each of your standby phases. This effect continues until your 4th turn after the card is activated. Then you got your one copy of Pump Princess, the Princess of Ghosts. Gosh, this card drives me nuts if I don't have any back row clearance in my decks. And it's 900 attack, 1000 defense, but if this face-up card is destroyed while in the monster zone, you can place it face-up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell card instead of sending it to the graveyard. While this card is treated as a continuous spell card by this effect, during each player's standby phase, place one pumpkin counter on this card, and all monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense for each pumpkin counter. So it's each standby phase, not just each of your standby phases. It's during yours and your opponent's. So each basically full turn, your opponent's losing 200 attack. Now we're going to get into the Ghostricks. You start with Ghostrick Mummy, level 3, 1500 attack, 0 defense. It cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. While this card is face up on the field, you can normal summon one Ghostrick monster in addition to your normal summon or set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. You cannot special summon any monsters except dark monsters. So Ghostrick Mummy is a good setup there. And then as we move forward, we got Ghostrick Skeleton, level 3 zombie, 1200 attack, 1100 defense. It cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. When this card is flipped face up, banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck face down up to the number of Ghostrick monsters you control. You can only use this effect of Ghostrick Skeleton once per turn. So if you're able to activate Ghostrick Mummy's effect, normal summon one other Ghostrick monster, and then same thing, with another one, you're able to do 3 summons. This card could be really good if you're able to line your field with 3 Ghostrick monsters, flip your Ghostrick Skeleton face up, and then start banishing your opponent's cards. And you're really able to go from there. It's a really sweet deal. Then you got Ghostrick Ghoul, level 3 zombie, 1100 attack, 1200 defense. It cannot be normal summon unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. And once per turn, during your main phase 1, you can target one Ghostrick monster you control. Its attack becomes equal to the combined original attack of all Ghostrick monsters currently on the field until the end of your opponent's next turn. But if it does, only that monster can attack this turn. So it's pretty much a built-in union attack. If you got 3 Ghostricks, you're able to get them all together and have over 3,000 attack and do some damage that way. It's a pretty good setup in my opinion. I really like how that one's run. And to get some of these Ghostricks on the field too, you could use Call of the Mummy. It's a continuous spell card where once per turn you can special summon one zombie-type monster from your hand. You must control no monsters to activate and to resolve this effect. Then you get 2 copies of Enemy Controller. You already know what this one does. Typically, you'll probably be using this just to change the position of your opponent's monster from attack to defense. during the battle phase. So overall, real good card. But then you have Security Orb. You activate only when your opponent's monster declares an attack. Change the battle position of that monster. When this face-down card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by effect of a spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy one monster on the field. But how do you keep all those Ghostricks with such a low defense sitting there in face-down defense position from getting destroyed? Well, aside from those position changers, you'll run 3 copies of a Feint Plan. A player cannot attack face-down monsters during this turn. So this gives you more time to kind of bide and build your strategies. Hopefully within your next turn, utilize Ghostrick Skeleton to start burning your opponent's deck. I'd like to see 2 of these kind of guys, on the field at the same time as well. You can make some magic happen that way. My goodness, you'll be able to burn through your opponent pretty easily. But then also having your trick up your sleeve, having that Red-Eye Zombie Dragon as a reinforcement to tribute summon over one of those Ghostricks, as they're all zombies. As a tribute summon, you're looking at a 2400 attack monster right there. But this deck aside from this whole deck setup, which is really interesting, its skill set is Draw Sense low level. So you're pretty much going to be guaranteed to either get one of those Ghostrick monsters if you need another one for reinforcements. There's a lot of other things that you could do with this deck. I would personally maybe run a restart version of this deck, or maybe even a balance version of this deck. Maybe kind of tweak the numbers of spell and trap cards, or maybe add more, add less. Maybe start my hand with 3 zombies, 1 spell or trap, or maybe 2 and 2. Yeah, I'd really have to kind of play test around and see what I would do if I was building a balanced deck with this type of setup. But the Draw Sense low level is not a bad idea for this deck. I think it fits very nicely since all of your monsters are pretty much level 3s from the Ghostrick perspective. They're all level 3s. Same thing for your Pump Princess. And then your level 4 Castle of Dark Illusions is your last low level monster. So if you have enough spells and traps in your cards and you really need more reinforcements from a Ghostrick standpoint, Draw Sense low level should almost guarantee you to get another Ghostrick in your hand. So yeah, overall, really exciting deck, really fun setup. This is one that I recommend playing. This one may be worth giving a shot. So if you've put together some kind of zombie Ghostrick deck, I'd like to hear about it. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.